All right, sharing with you guys how to add the graded wash to your final painting. Okay, so a couple of things real quickly. I mixed a regular wash on my palette lid. Okay, a little bit of water and a little bit of pigment. It looks like this right here. So I just did that within the crater itself. And before I add it to my painting, I want to make sure to test the tone of that wash on a piece of watercolor paper. Okay, so I'm going to do that really quickly. I'm going to give you all some scrap paper in order to do that, just so that there are like no surprises in terms of what the tone actually looks like. Okay, so this right here is what this wash currently looks like. I am cool with that. Remember, we're going to add this to our final painting. We are going to create a graded wash, meaning we're dragging it into water on our painting to do the sky. For the graded wash, it's going to go gradually from dark at the top of your paper. We're adding water nearest to the horizon, and we're dragging that paint into the water, and that water will lighten closest to the horizon. All right. Now, you do not have to do blue for your color for your sky. You can do any host of colors that makes sense. You can make it nighttime. You can really make it a sunset if you would want to, whatever floats your boat, as long as you test it ahead of time and that your color gradually gets darker toward this edge of the paper and lighter toward that horizon line. Okay. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to grab some water. And I'm going to use a larger scale round brush. It looks like this. And so that I don't flood this area and have less control over my water, what I'm going to do is dip my brush here, and I'm going to tap it off on the side of my water cup before I apply it. So I'm trying to kind of control the amount of water that I put down here, because anytime we have more water, you're just going to lose kind of control of where it's going. So I'm adding it where the horizon is, and I'm dragging it up. When I go back for more water, I'm tapping it off on the side of the glass. And remember, I'm going to leave that strip across the top. So adding it from the horizon line upward. And you should be able to see that the water is a little bit glossy on the paper. At least I hope you guys can see. It's a little bit glossy on the paper. And I'm trying to tap off some of the water between when I grab it. So when I grab it out of my container here, out of my cup, I'm kind of tapping it off on the side. Okay, so right now this section from here all the way across is wet. This strip across the top is dry. Now what I'm going to do at this point, let me shift this paper down. I'm going to grab this color from my palette. Okay, so I'm grabbing my wash right up here, and I'm going to start it at the top of my paper, and I'm going to drag it down gradually into that water. Now when I drag it into the water, it lightens up. Okay, and it looks something like this right here. That actually looks really cool. Okay, again, across the top, I want it to be darkest across the top, and I'm going to gradually drag it into the water. And that water, again, it's not a whole lot of water, lightens that tone. So it's going gradually from darkest to lightest. Okay, I'm going to do it again on this side. So adding it at the top where I want it to be darkest, dragging it gradually into the water. And just a reminder, 7th grade, you do have to work kind of quickly because you don't want your water on your paper to dry. Now, let's say I'm unsatisfied with this graded wash. Right now, this looks pretty great, okay? Let's say I need to pick up some color down here toward the bottom. Let's say it all looks like one flat tone or one flat wash. What I can do is I can thirsty brush it. So again, I'm going to rinse my paintbrush. I'm going to blot it off on my paper towel, okay, to get all the excess water off. So it's going to look something like this. And then what I can do is I can do a suction. Okay, so I can pick up some color, dab it off on my paper towel, pick up some color, dab it off on my paper towel. Every time you pick up some color, you're going to dab it off. Okay, this is called Thirsty Brush, so you can use that if you need it. You can't scrub this into the paper. It will cause your paper to start to pill, okay, pull apart basically. Let's say you feel like it's not as intense across the top. You can paint it one more time, okay, while it's still wet. So again, just making sure it gradually fades. Okay, rinsing, blotting. And continuing to spread that out. Okay, so this just kind of gives you an example of a sky and graded wash. And once you have something that looks like that, I feel like you're good. So light, medium, and then darker across the top. Okay.